Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be taking you through my all-time favourite top 10 reborn sculpts. Now if you know anything about me and my collection, some of these won't surprise you, but I think a few of them will. And let me know in the comments if you disagree with my list or think there's someone that I have missed out. Just one thing, I will only be including sculpts in this, which means I won't be including any real-born kits. So without further ado, in the number 10 spot we have Charlie by Andrea Arcello. Now this only recently became one of my favourite kits, and that is because I painted it and it was just such a dream to paint. And it was so detailed and so realistic. I love the neck, it's my favourite part of the sculpt. It's so rare to see a reborn sculpt with such a detailed and realistic neck. I will put up some pictures so you can see the one that I painted and then let me know what you think. Does it deserve the number 10 spot? Number 9 is a sculpt that I used to have in my collection. It is the Noah Asleep sculpt by Riva Schick. This is one of the very early sculpts that I first saw and I just loved ever since I first saw it. I did have one in my collection a couple of years ago. Unfortunately, she smelled very heavily of smoke and I am not a smoker, so I wasn't able to keep her because I just couldn't tolerate the smell. However, I do still think it's a really beautiful sculpt and I have painted one myself and maybe in the future I'll own another one. Number 8, not a surprise, this is the Lulu sculpt by Joanna Kazmierczak. I am sorry if I've said her name wrong. Now the Lulu sculpt came out in 2020 when I had just started my collection. And at that point in time, I wasn't ready to drop several £100s on a doll when I'd already bought one for about £300 right at the start. And so as much as I wanted a Lulu, I didn't get one just because the cheapest ones were around £450, which actually now I do regret because the cheapest ones you get nowadays are over £1,000 and the blank sculpt sells for £500 on its own. But I think in 2020, none of us knew how popular this sculpt was going to be. One of the things I love about the sculpt is that she looks so peaceful and just has really beautiful lips. Number 7 is a sculpt that I have in my collection, and this is the Manuela sculpt. Now, my little one was painted by Reborn by Natalia, and I have to admit, the first time I saw this sculpt, I saw one of the prototypes and I didn't really like it. But I think that was more down to the painting of the doll rather than the sculpt itself, because when I saw this one, I just thought, oh my gosh, she looks so peaceful, so sweet. And so, of course, I had to get her for my collection. She is now one of my older dolls, so she has been with me for a couple of years, and I keep her on display in my glass display cabinet. Number 6 is Flora, and this again is a sculpt that I fell in love with when I was painting it. Flora was sculpted by Priscilla Lopez, and again I just think she's really beautiful, really peaceful, and I love her lips. If you look at my entire list, you'll see that I really have a thing about particular lip styles. I don't like very open mouths. And you may notice that for the majority of my list, they are closed eyes and they are around newborn size. Well, that will change with number 5. My 5th favourite all-time sculpt is the Pippa sculpt. She was sculpted by Natalie Blick, and I think all of Natalie Blick's kits have this kind of beautiful ethereal whimsy to them. And Pippa is my favourite of all of her kits. This one in particular was made by Pumpkin Doodle Babies. She is a friend of mine in America, and if you want to order your own baby by her, then you get 10% off with my discount code Reborns of Jess. Moving on to number 4, this also may be a surprise, but my 4th favourite sculpt is the Elfie kit. Now, I don't have my own Elfie completed yet. However, I have bought myself one of these sculpts and it is living in our attic until I feel confident enough to make my own to a quality that I'm happy with to have in my collection. As soon as I saw this sculpt, I just thought it was so magical. I love the ears, but most of all, I love the facial expression. I'm not usually a fan of open eye babies, but this one just captured me. Now we're into the top 3. Number 3 is a sculpt that I actually used to have in my collection, but I have since sold, and that is the Jack sculpt by Nikki Johnston. I love all of Nikki's sculpts, but there's something about Jack. Again, so peaceful, and I always just thought he was so beautiful. Now, the Jack that I had was painted hair, and I do prefer rooted hair babies for my collection, although I now do have quite a few with painted hair. And one of the reasons I love Jack so much is because he is a little Asian baby, and my fiance is Asian, so I think it's quite likely that we'll pop out some Asian babies at some point ourselves. Unfortunately, Jack is a sold out limited edition sculpt, so incredibly hard to get hold of. You cannot find a blank one anymore, and the ones that are fully reborn are quite expensive, similar to Lulu. Now, number 2 should be no surprise considering I have 2 of them in my collection, and that is the Pickle sculpt by Nikki Johnston. I love big babies. I love 3 to 6, 6 to 9 month size, and that's exactly what the Pickle sculpt is. I have also painted 2 of these myself, and I have another 2 blank kits that I will be painting at some point. They are super fun to paint, especially the hands. And usually I hate painting reborn hands, but the size of these ones and how much you can do with the nails to make them look realistic is just lovely. I also do think they just have the most beautiful face, and again, a very peaceful expression. So it's lovely to take them out in a pram. And I do think being this size, they are just the best cuddlers. And finally, number 1, it should not surprise you, and especially that this doll is in my collection. I bought this baby back in, I think, my first year of collecting. He is the oldest baby in my collection, and I absolutely love him. He's also my fiance's favourite. He says if we ever break up, he gets this baby. He's also one of the only blondes in my collection, but this is the Sam sculpt. Sam was sculpted by Gudrun Legler, and I have to say I love all of her kits. I've had several in my collection before, including Alessia and Romy, and I also love the Kai kit. But for me, there's just something super special about Sam. I particularly love his little mouth. I have painted one of these myself as well, and I would really like to have a dark hair version in the future. Thank you guys so much for watching if you are still here. And as I said, please let me know your opinions in the comments. What's your favourite sculpt? If you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like and consider subscribing if you would like to see more from me and my reborns. And I will hopefully see you next time.